When it comes to entering in data, you can enter it in a table or a query, and both of them have what are known as datasheet views. It's where the front-end user can enter in the data. So if I open up the table, there's the datasheet view. It just looks like the spreadsheet you see in Excel. Open up a query. It's got the same cells here, again looking like a spreadsheet. So if the font is looking a bit small because you have this huge monitor with a high resolution, and you want to increase the font size by default, well, come up here and click on the File tab, go backstage, go down to Options, and select the Datasheet tab, and then come down here, and there it is. The size by default is 11. Go ahead and let's choose something to exaggerate it. Let's do 24. Click OK, and then I have to close out of these and reopen them back up to be able to see it. And whoa, that's huge. Unless, of course, you have that 50-inch monitor, it probably looks about normal to you. And I'm going to go ahead and go back and change it to size 11 because that works best for me. When it comes to opening up these access objects like tables, queries, and so on, when you open it opens up a window with the tab up at the top. Now there are three ways that you can view your access objects here, and this is the default way with the tab here, which makes it nice because when I open up another object, in this case another table, I can quickly navigate back and forth between the two by clicking on the corresponding tabs. The other two ways can be found by going backstage, clicking on the File tab, going down to Options, selecting Current Database, and it's listed under the Document Window Options. You have the default here, which is tab documents with their display document tabs or you can do overlapping or just tab documents. First of all, overlapping windows. Overlapping windows is the only setting that's going to allow you to position the open window around and be able to resize it. And that can come in handy when you create a database for somebody else and this other company, let's say that you're creating it for, wants to control the front end user what they see and where they see it and how they see it. So if you can control the windows, resize them and position them over to the right hand side, left hand side, and maybe have them open up other windows where they can display them side by side, well, here's one of the options. Let's go ahead and select it and click OK so we can see what it looks like. But before we can see it, before it takes effect, we have to close out of the database and reopen it. So we'll say OK, close out, and then open up the database again by opening up Access 2013. And if it's a recent database, it'll be listed there. Go ahead and click on it. Or if you're like me, let me close out, and you've got the Access program added to your taskbar, just go ahead and right click on the icon to bring up the jump list. And there's the recent one right there. Click on it, opens it up. So go ahead and double click and you don't get the tab. And you can see that you get the maximize or restore down. So not only can you resize the window, but you can also, well, besides maximizing it and restoring it down, but if you hover over any one of the four borders until you can see two arrows pointing in opposite directions, you can also click and drag to shrink it or bring it up. And let's go ahead and shrink it in. And then that way you can go ahead and open up another object and move that around and position it just to, well, what we can see on the right hand side of the books table. Now that's nice if you want to do some comparison or you're creating this database for somebody else or even yourself and you want to be able to control the windows, the size of them, and where they're displayed. And we'll learn about that a little bit more in a later training video. But when it comes to designing the database, it's not my favorite because it's really annoying to be able to compare, to double check my work by having to, well, position these windows all the way around. Instead, I like little tabs where I can navigate back and forth fairly quickly with a single click. Not only that, but if I come over here and restore that, what happened to the books? What happened to the books table? Well, it's the customer table, you can see up here in the title bar, is overlapping the books table. Now Access knows about this, and so to help you out, so you don't have to restore this down and move the window over to the right hand side to be able to see the other table, or if you have other objects to see those, you can come up here on the Home tab to the Windows group. Now this Windows group is only going to be available when you have the overlapping windows feature applied. So it allows you within the group to switch the windows between, well, whatever's available. The books, we only have two open, the books or the customers. So that's helpful. if you need to quickly switch between the two. Otherwise, if I come back up here, click on File, and go to Options, and change this, let's go to Current Database again, from overlapping windows to tab documents, but not displaying the document tabs. You need to know that the tab documents, without displaying the document tabs, unlike overlapping, this setting stacks the windows and cannot be moved around unless you add, when it comes to viewing the many windows that you may have open, the window group, the switch windows command to the quick access toolbar, because it's not going to add it for you here on the Home tab to the Windows group as it does when you select overlapping windows. So let's go ahead and see what this looks like. Tab Documents and click Okie dokie. We have to close out of the database and restart it for it to take effect. So let me right click on the Access 2013 program icon, go to the most recent one, Books, the database, opens it back up, double click, and notice how you don't get the resizing handles, and notice how you don't get the little resizing option here to either restore down or maximize. It fills the whole screen. So if I go ahead and go to Customers, it fills the whole screen. Well, where's the Books table? It's behind the Customers table. The only way to get to it is to double click to either bring it on top or to use the Switch Windows command, which is not available in the tab with the tab documents as it was in overlapping windows, because in overlapping windows it was on the Home tab and the Windows group was right about here. It's not there. So what we can do is we can right click on the Quick Access toolbar, go down to Customize it, and choose from Popular to All Commands, and go down to the S's. And there it is, Switch Windows. Go ahead and double click to add it over here. And let me select it and arrow it down so it comes at the end of all the commands on the Quick Access toolbar, and click Okie dokie, and there you go. So when I click on it, it shows me all the objects that are currently open, and it's the Books and Customers. So we can go to Customers, then we can go to Books. That way you don't have to double click to go back and forth to bring one on top of the other, or in this case to reopen it. Like I said, for me, when it comes to designing the database, I like having the tabs on the windows available there. So I'm going to go ahead and convert it back to that. Click on File, Options, Current Database, and just simply check Display Document Tabs with the tab documents selected. And click OK, OK, close out, right click, then back to Books. That fast. And then double click. It feels so much better to have those tabs there, at least my comfort zone when it comes to designing my database. Then after I'm done designing it, I'm just about to put the finishing touches on it. If the client asks me to be able to control the windows, where they're positioned, what size and all that, and not being able to view the navigation pane or have that available, you'll see in later training videos how you can do that. And in which case, at the very end, I'll go ahead and change that so I don't have the tabs being displayed.